Shalom Evrocha, it's Yom Hey, Thursday, Parshas Mishpatim, Chav Hey Lechodesh Shvat, Tovshim Pevov. Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, we will learn Zera Shimshon, Parshas Mishpatim, Ois Beis, and it should be a zchus for all of us. Zog the Heilige Zera Shimshon, Medrash Rabbi on the Pasuk, Ve'ela HaMishpatim Asher Tosim Lefneim, the first Pasuk in this week's Parsha says, David Amar. The Medrash quotes a Pasuk in Tehillim that says, Yiras Hashem Tehora Oimedes La'ad. A person has to have Yira Shemayim. La Bakach. Why do you have to have Yira Shemayim? Asks the Medrash. Answers the Medrash, Mishim de Dabe Kulabe. If you have Yira Shemayim, you have everything. If you don't have Yira Shemayim, you have nothing. Yesh Adam Shoinem Medrash Halachas Vagodos. You can have somebody that knows a lot of Medrashim, a lot of halachas, a lot of agados. In aim bo yira, if he doesn't have yira shemayim, he has accomplished nothing. Lav klum hu. That's the medrash on that pasuk. Frek the heilige Zera Shimshon. I don't understand how this pasuk of Yiras Hashem Tehora connects with the pasuk ve'ela hamishpatim asher tasim lefneim. Tema eich tole mikrazesh am David im eila hamishpatim. Question number one. Question number two, why did it say David Amar? Why do you have to say who said to him? Why is it relevant now to tell us that David HaMelech was the one that wrote Sefer Tehillim? Ma kosha pasuk zesh mega pasuk shal David, or ma David Amar, Malim Amar David, ayodam acher. If you want to say the message of Yiras Shemayim, just say Kusiv b'pasuk Yiras Hashem Tehora Medesh La'ed. These are the two kashas that the Zera Shimshon asks. Venira says the Zera Shimshon Shamedish Hirgish Bekishev Eila Mishpatim. The Medish was bothered by a question, and because it was bothered by a question, it brought this pasuk. What was the question that bothered the Medrash? It says Ve'ele. Rashi already asked the question. Always when it says Ve'ele, it's Moisiv ala Rishonim, as Rashi says. Ve means it's a continuation. Ma Rishonim misinai af Elo misinai. Like Parshas Yisro was said in Sinai, this also was said in Sinai. The Medrash had a problem. What type of chiddush is that? Eich tasek hadaitin. Why would have you thought she'ela mishpatim la'yiyum Sinai? You would have thought that the whole parsha of Eredivri, the whole parsha of Dalet Shomrim, the whole parsha of Moedav Amiksas wasn't said at Har Sinai. The Itzrach Kol Rebuniyeh Halakala Terakula Misinai Nemra. Why does the Torah have to emphasize with a vav that this was said in Sinai? Umach mazeh. To answer this question, we bring the pasuk Yiras Hashem Tehora. What's the understanding? Explains the Heilige Zera Shimshon the Reperakama the Sanhedrin Pligi. In the first parak in Sanhedrin, the Gemara has a machlokes in mitzvah livtzoya oiloi. Is it a mitzvah to make a pshara, or is it not a mitzvah to make a pshara? Says the Gemara, the man the Amma that says it's an absolute mitzvah to make a b'shara, which means although you are 100% right, nevertheless you're mavata to somebody else. This person is mekayim mitzvah. Where does that come from? Because it says in the pasuk, "Vayhi David." David the Melech was a dayan. How did he run his Dina Torah? Oise mishpat utstaka b'chaleis l'chal amoy. He did staka or mishpat. Says the Gemara, it's a stira. Was it mishpat? Was it staka? Eiza mishpat sheyesh by tzedaka have oime ze habitzua. This is how David HaMelech functioned. He didn't just paskin the mishpat. He made the b'shara. Every toyin and every nitten should gain a luz. U'peresha mashah. Says the Heilige Mashah, the Sanhedrin. Somebody that fears the Eibishter, la'olam oiseb shara, he's always ready to mevate. V'loidin, v'aporik atzvah min adin, lasses b'shara, who may be shalom, beinoi, lebein, aviv shebashamayim. A person that's ready to mevate, although he's right, he makes shalom between him and the Eibishter. The bedin, if your person wants to go with the din, I don't want b'sharas, only din. Sometimes the din is not right. He noitel was there, noitel was there. The oven talib about din, and sometimes the dain himself isn't passing correctly. Aval b'shara u'beratzon shneim ve'ein kan avoin loylo zeh v'loylo zeh. That's why it's recommended. For a person, more than recommended, it's a mitzvah to make a b'shara. And a person that has Yiras Shamayim, that's afraid of an Aveira, he'll always pursue the option of b'shara. That's why the Shulchan Aruch paskins, mitzvah loyim le'baladinim, you should tell the baladinim, im yirtzu b'shara. Or b'vadai she'af posuk zeh shel ve'ela mishpatim, yirmoz lanu, she'af b'shara hi yoyse tovim adin. This first posuk, ve'ela mishpatim, is miramish to this concept. Why? It says ve'ela mishpatim asher tosim lifneim. The word asher tosim is a hard word. It should have said asher tishpoit or asher talamdim. What's asher tosim lifneim? That you should put in front of them. Ela kavanosoi, we find by peace the word shalom. Ve'yosim l'cha shalom. Sheyosim shalom b'neim v'zet tosim. Inama sheyosim lifneim adinim. Avalo yishpotoisam. Tell them halacha, but don't tell them this is mandatory. There's a better option called a b'shara. And I'm surprised that the Zereshim doesn't bring the famous remez of the Balaturim that says the word Hamishpatim is Rosh Tevas, Hadayan Mitzuvah, Sheyase b'shara, Terem Yase Mishpat. The word Mishpatim, Hamishpatim is Rosh Tevas, Hadayan Mitzuvah, Sheyase b'shara, Terem Yase Mishpat. The Zereshim has a Tada de Mesaile here in the Balaturim that a person should first make a pshara. Ma'atel says the Zereshim and if the Gipshat. This is what the Medrash was bothered by. Yisal Kedatach, Shazeh Mishpat Shal B'shara Enemy Sinai. You may have thought this is not Sinai Dik. The Adraba, a mitzvah Shenem Rasham, Hilishpoit Daf Galadin. Sinai maybe tells us to judge people with the letter of the law. Can read and pray Kaman Avodah Zarah. Torah's emes. That's what you may have thought. Says the Medrash, no, don't make that mistake. Even this was said from Sinai. Try to promote Bisharas, encourage Bisharas. Medrash Divrei David. That's why it says in the Medrash, David HaMelech did this. Because David was the one that demonstrated that this is better. He did that himself. David that made Bisharas explained himself. You know why I'm making Bisharas? Because the Pasuk says, Yiras Hashem Toher Medis Loat. David the Melech says, I'm afraid of the Eibishter. That's why I promote Bisharas. A person will for sure make a Bishara. And that's why it says, Mishpatim Hashem Emes Tzadku Yachtov. There's a concept of Emes together with Din. Emes, Din Emes. How do you say Tzadki Yachtov? How do you say Mishpatim Hashem is Emes, Tzadki Yachtov? Like Shesh Mishpat Emes, Ein B'shara. Shesh B'shara, that's a Remez in Yiras Hashem, Ein Mishpat Emes. The pasuk continues. First it says Yiras Hashem Tohira Medis Load. Then it says Mishpatim Hashem Emes, Tzadki Yachtov. Elamai Shesh Lanu Lasta B'shara Kroiv Ledin. You have to have a B'shara that's close to the Din. This is called emes. And this is what a person has to look for, and this is what the Medrash was bothered by. This was said in Har Sinai, and this is recommended, and this is a result of a person's Yiras Shamayim. I heard from Melech Biederman, he said this week's Parashas Mishpatim is all the sugis in Shas, all the Nezikin, and many Masechtas coming from these psukim. What's one of the last psukim mentioned in all these cases that a person's chayav to pay money? One of the last psukim is the parasha of in Kesef Talves Ami. You lend money to somebody, then it says you're taking a mashkan, give him back the mashkan banait. Give it back, return it. Why? Kihu kisusa levada, he simlasa la'orev me'ishkav. The guy needs this thing to sleep on. Like Yitzhak Alai, if you're going to take it away, not going to give it back to him banait, I'll listen. One second. Who's right and who's wrong? This person borrowed money from me, and I'm fully entitled to take a mashkin. And if I don't give back the mashkin by night, then Hashem will listen to him. Because the Abish does merachem. 1 second. I lent him money. He came to ask me for alva. I gave him alva. I did him a favor, and I was scared he won't pay back. I was fully entitled to take a mashkin. I have to go and give it back to Mashkin every night. And if I don't, Hashem will listen to that person's tefillahs. That's not justifiable. Why is that okay? So we see from here big yesod. Although you're right, although the emes dictates that you have a good point, nevertheless, this person's a rachmanis, this person needs help, and this person is davening to the Eibishter. I don't know what to sleep on. And Hashem will listen to his tefillahs. And this is an important message in Parshas Mishpatim. As the lashon of Reb Tzadok and Tzidkas Tzadok is, Asa letzayir Yehudi afal pi, that you are right. You don't have to cause pain to somebody else. Try and appease him. Try to make a b'shara. When we make a b'shara down here, then the Eibishter make b'sharas with us. And this is sometimes very difficult, but this is the madrega of people that have Yiras Shamayim, people that are medamel themselves to the Eibishter. Mahu rachum af atu rachum, mahu chanun af atu chanun. For the Eibishter helfen, es chus of the heilige Zera Shimshon Yogim Adenu, levasha b'dva Yeshua v'rachmim. A good Shabbos, Besuras Tavis.